At the sun's highest point, beneath a cloudless California sky, October pressure burns a little bit brighter. This is the Cathedral of Baseball. It stands ready again, etched in banners, echoing with memory. 2 games separate the Dodgers from the Fall Classic. 2 wins here. Milwaukee gets a chance to go home. They'll have to steal some games underneath a very bright sun. We have gone from the outfield perch to the third baseline here on TBS in beautiful Dodger Stadium. Pedro and I are donning our powder blues. To my right, I got a bunch of former Dodgers, different lengths of stints. Curtis Granderson to my right, Jimmy Rollins to my left. And on September 24th, 1992, Pedro Martinez came out of that bullpen over there and started his career with the LA Dodgers. Bringing back memories, Pedro.
Yes, and I did take my little time to actually look around and reflect on my time here. But not just the time, just so much history.
Ooh, juicy, Jerry.
It wasn't juicy yet. The juice came a little later. As you can see, that's a little fro Jerry.
Oh yeah, but at the same time, so many great memories of so many great players that went through. I remember having a great interaction with Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale.
Wow.
And I stopped by the third base box because one of the most influential coaches that I ever had away from pitching mound was Joe Amalfitano. He was a person that really made me believe that I belong in the big leagues.
Wow.
And I trusted his word, and the rest is history.
Pretty awesome. Speaking of history, this is the 40th LCS game played at Dodger Stadium, the most of any stadium all time. That's history, and we've been witnessing history with the Dodgers pitchers and also the bottom of the lineup. It has been domination for LA thus far. We've talked a lot about the pitching, but the bats have been hitting lately as well.
It's absolutely the bats, and especially those names that weren't necessarily the big ones. We have MVPs at the top of the lineup with Ohtani and Betts and Freeman, but those other names on the bottom, you know, with Teoscar Hernandez and Max Muncy down there, 2 guys that both said, why did you come back to the Dodgers? I want to be in a chance to win. And they knew they were going to have a chance year in and year out. And sure enough, they're showing it with the bats at the bottom. And again, something not to be overstated, the sacrifice bunt by Pies in the 9th spot. All the little things at the bottom of the lineup, 6, 7, 8, 9 need to do, they are doing.
Dave Roberts said, we are playing our best baseball we played all year, clicking at the right time.
It's very apparent, and it starts with the guys on the bump. It doesn't matter how many runs you score if you can't keep the other guys from scoring. And they aren't even letting guys get to second base. So you're talking about a clear advantage for the guys in blue. And as you talked about, you know, big names, it's like 2 seasons of big names for the Dodgers. You have regular season big names that are MVPs. Then you have the postseason big names, the Hernandez brothers, Edman, guys that always seem to find a way in the postseason. So they're full of stars no matter how you look at it, whether it's the regular season or the postseason. And here's a little brother, Kike, who's been around, and he's Babe Ruth, Kike Hernandez when it comes to the postseason, and it's beautiful to see.
He's got to be the older brother, right? He's been there for a little bit longer than Teoscar.
That's true. But if you're around him,
there you go. Yeah, he is a little brother.
He's definitely a little brother.
Guys, don't switch the names of my kiddos. Those are the double-headed monsters, the Hernandez brothers. That's what you need to call them, the double-headed monster.
It is funny to talk about how everything is clicking, and then you think about what has been going on with Shohei Otani. 3 of 29 in his last 7 games, went through an 0 for 15 stretch, which is the second longest drought of his career. And all of this caused something that we haven't seen in months. He took his first session of batting practice since March when the Dodgers opened their season in the Tokyo Dome. He came out with his full Michael Bublé walk-up music. He came out, took a few rounds, even hit one off the top of the roof in the pavilion and out of the ballpark. Curtis and Jimmy, I just need to know, what do we think about this? Is this a big change? What do we learn from him doing this?
It's not necessarily a big change, but it could be to work on stuff. When you're typically not hitting on the field, it's because you don't want to get tempted by hitting the ball on the roof. But sometimes you come on the field because you want to see what the results are looking like. Is that ball that I think I'm hitting straight? Is it actually straight? And the field's going to tell you. So I think that's part of what he was going into by taking BP. But Jimmy, towards your career, were you hitting on the field or off the field mostly?
I would do both. And I think what happens is when you hit in the cage all the time, it's like hitting in a tunnel. there are no angles. There's no difference between one cage or the other. It's pretty much a guy flipping the ball in the straight back. When you get on the field, now you have to go readjust your sights. Okay, this is what pull feels like. This is what left center feels like. This is what right center feels like. This is what complete opposite feels like. And when you get in the cage, it's easy to groove. A guy's, throwing the ball at one spot, one speed, and you're just grooving your swing, which is great. When you're locked in, you just want to stay grooving your swing. But when you're struggling, you have to go refigure out what are the angles. When I'm in a box, what does the plate look like? Because we've been there, and even as a pitcher, when you're playing the National League, the plate sometimes it look like it turns on you, like it just shifts, and it's like, whoa, you don't know where you are in the box. And if your feet aren't there, it always starts at the bottom. If your feet aren't grounded, everything else is going to be out of whack.
Well, it also has to do with a lot of great pitching against Shohei Otani. Everybody that steps in Dodger Stadium or anywhere for that matter against Shohei Otani has to know that they have to be on top of their game. And Otani was pitched almost perfect by the Philadelphia Phillies. I think that made Otani believe that he's vulnerable in some areas, and some of the other pitchers that he has faced have actually gone to the same spot to try to explode some of the areas that he might be vulnerable. And Ohtani, I think what he did today was trying to make adjustments on some of the things that the pitchers have been doing to him. I also believe the fact that Ohtani is being counted on to pitch, I think takes a little bit of his concentration away from him. And instead of focusing on just pitching, he's actually doing more to try to pitch instead of thinking about hitting.
And Pedro, I think, we saw him warming up with the arm sleeve on his arm. He pitched well his last time out. Maybe he put a little more effort in. Remember, he hasn't had a lot of innings throughout the course of this season. Did he do a little bit with that elbow, a little bit with that shoulder? Where Jimmy, if that's bothering us hitting, especially if that's the lead arm, which is his throwing arm in that left-handed batter's box, that could be causing some of the issues we're seeing at the plate.
The guy you just saw, Ashby, pitching again for the third time in this series, second time as an opener. We're sure he'll be out after an inning or two. He's never gotten Ohtani out. 2 hits, 1 walk. So Ohtani maybe gets that spark going in the first inning. We have Dave Roberts with our Lauren Shahadi, and I have to imagine Roberts feeling really good about where his team stands, up 2-0.
Dave, whenever Glass pitches, I see you going like this. Just don't overthrow. How will I be able to tell the difference tonight?
I think it's going to be an easy tell. I think that if you can see him locking in on the pitches, the sequencing, the hitter, and not the extracurricular delivery mechanics, when in the middle of an outing, when he starts kind of fidgeting, then he's kind of getting a little too external. When he is just focusing on the hitter and compete mode, he's as good as anyone in the game.
Dave, I loved our time at batting practice yesterday with the music bumping and Shohei taking BP. This is not lost on you. How many days did you dream of these days?
A lot. And I remember even in 2017, I remember in the World Series, my dad had just passed that spring training, and I went out there at about noon, and I got his ashes, and I sprayed him out there in center field, where I used to roam in center field with the Dodgers, and then where I sit right there, I spread him in front of me. So every single day, I always think of my dad. I never take for granted. I am just so grateful that I get to be in baseball, coach the Dodgers, and coach these great players. And so you got to have fun, and you got to rock Michael Bublé when Shohei's struggling and taking batting practice. And he had fun with it, got his work in, and he's ready to go today.
Thank you for sharing that. Pressure is a privilege. Who said it?
Ooh, yeah, I love that.
Billie Jean King, you were just talking to her.
Billie Jean King, yeah, and she was also giving me tips on our hitters on how to hit a baseball. But hey, Billie Jean said that, so it's all good.
Thanks, Dave.
All right.
Pushing all the right buttons right now. We'll see if this button goes well as well. Tyler Glasnow, LA starters have allowed just 31 earned runs over their last 29 home games since July. The unthinkable. Last 6 games for Glasnow, the Dodgers won all 6 games. Just under 30 minutes until the first pitch of NLCS game.